I've definitely hit like the breaking point during sessions and just felt like I needed to stop doing it or give up. But I just remember like, you got to take it day by day. You have to focus on the small goals, the small wins, nailing out sessions that seem impossible at the time, being able to look back and realize like that's going to help me reach that long-term goal, that huge goal in 4 years. Like that's what gets me through. But I've definitely had periods where I just want to stop and think it's not worth it anymore. Then I just have to bring myself back and realize, Ellie, this is 3 to 4 years, okay? It's okay if you have one bad day. We're just going to try our best, see what happens on the day, no matter what.
That was Ellie Abrahamson, and this is episode 108 of the Yogi Triathlete podcast. What's up, YT community? I am fired up to be back this week with a fresh look into the always challenging and rarely glamorous life of triathlon as a profession. But first, I'm Jess, I'm your host, and this is the place where we share stories of people looking, finding, and living their purpose. People who are going against the grain of society, following their heart's deepest callings, and getting to the other side of fear and resistance time and again and again and again. We dig in and we ask the how. And from what we're hearing, this pod is assisting many in shifting their lives more into the direction of where they want it to go. Consciousness people, this is how we become the architects of our lives, and it all starts with the courage to take the first step. Having been connected with the USAT college recruitment program while still in school, Ellie graduated college just last year, passed up the quote-unquote traditional professional path, and followed a deeper calling into sport. This girl isn't new to competition, having raced crits at the age of 11 and taking the podium as Iron Kids champ at the age of 12. But that doesn't mean there aren't some days that she just wants to turn her back and run in the other direction. This has been a year of discoveries for Ellie. She has woken up to the elongated timeline of what it means to be a developmental triathlete. She has been thrown full force into strengthening her weaknesses, and day after day, workout after workout, she grinds away towards her dreams to be at the top. If there are two themes to take from this conversation, they are: number one, don't give up. When things get tough, don't give up. Don't give up. And number two, sticking to our comfort zones does not a champion make. I think we shine some light on some blind spots during our chat. And with that, maybe, I hope, we made some way for clarity to shine through. Ellie is a runner. She is built like a runner and she runs like a runner, but she knows that in order to reach her goal of being at the top of WTS in just a few short years, well, she can't just rely on her run. The game has changed, and it's young, determined athletes like Ellie who keep up-leveling the game. And speaking of up-leveling the game, you guys, we are in our 8th straight M21 challenge, and we have a ton of incredible athletes on board. Your competition. So just so you know, enrollment is always open. If the group thing doesn't call you, I work with athletes all over the globe in a one-on-one setting. And if I could, I would scream from the mountaintops about each one of their massive leaps in performance. Now that it's race season, my text alerts are lighting up on a regular basis. These athletes are kicking butt, and the only thing that's changed is their minds. Changed in a sustainable way, using simple mindfulness practices backed up with accountability. So check out the show notes for links to find out more about taking your sport to the next level. BJ and I have been following Ellie's YouTube channel for a few months now, and the thing I love so much about her is her transparency. She's letting it all hang out, and this is vulnerability, you guys, and vulnerability is the bridge to power. Something that so many of us athletes struggle with, but I know that no one is immune to it, and it is the precursor to growth. We must be open to feedback, as our guest so graciously receives in our convo today. So let's do it. Let's dive in with professional triathlete, YouTube sensation, and the future WTS podium monopolizer, Ellie Abrahamson. Welcome to the pod studio / home /
yoga studios,
nerve center / training center.
This is so intense.
Welcome. We do it all here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so I'm psyched to have you. And we started watching your videos on YouTube, and we swim at the same pool. You're local here in Carlsbad.
Yeah.
One of the things I loved about what you're going to bring to the show today, no pressure, is that, we've interviewed the ITU peeps, Ben Kanute and Eric and Matt and Taylor, and they all started out in the USAT program that you are in right now.
Mm-hmm. All the ITU peeps.
Yeah, all the ITU peeps. And we support that program, we meaning all us triathletes that buy our USAT membership. Mm-hmm. And I've been so guilty of registering for an Ironman, which is $800. However, I do remember when it was $500. Mm-hmm. I think it was even below $500. And then I had to renew my membership, and I'm like, oh God, it's another $50. And then we had a podcast with Barry Siff, and we were talking. I'd kind of grown past that hassle because obviously I realized I was supporting something good, a sport that I love. But when we talked to him about just how much of that money goes to the development of the future in the sport, and you, girl, are the future in the sport.
Wow, that makes you feel very special.
Yeah, and I know it's super glamorous.
Oh, it is a glamorous lifestyle. Yes, being a development triathlete, everyone's dream for sure. I'm just training.
Tell us about your life.
Ever since I started doing triathlon, I have just spent my days swimming, biking, and running, and eating food. That is pretty much my life. And also hanging out with my other awesome developmental teammates. But yeah, my life's not too crazy. I wake up and grind. I exercise a lot.
How many hours a week are you putting in?
It definitely varies depending on what kind of block we're in. But anywhere from 15 to 25 is usually the range I'm doing right now.
Yeah, that's solid. And then how much time, because you've got to recover, right? You're putting your body through rigors that you've probably never done before.
Oh, yeah. Nothing I ever expected to do, that's for sure. 100%. Ooh.
So are you riding some waves with it? Moments when, you're like, oh my God, I'm living my dream, and moments when you're like, I can't.
Yes, it's definitely an emotional roller coaster. I'm coming from a collegiate running background, and my last year as a runner, I was doing 70 miles a week. And I was like, man, this is intense training. I'm running 70 miles a week. I just felt like I was doing a lot. And I never expected the triathlon volume to be what it is. I now go out for 3-hour bike rides, all this stuff. And I'm like, this is now it's normal. But at first it was crazy.
To get through the, not only the physical barriers of pushing your body, but the mental, you're exhausted.
Oh, yeah. Now, like I said, 3 hours is normal. But at the beginning, I really had to train myself mentally to get past even a 90-minute bike ride or these things that seem short now. They seemed so daunting at the beginning. And it's just amazing how you can train your mind and your whole perspective changes.
How do you think you did that? How do you think you trained your mind?
I think I've grown up as an athlete, so I don't know, I'm just willing to put myself through some hard times to get to the good times and to see the light at the end of the tunnel or reach that light at the end of the tunnel. And I just have to remind myself that it'll get easier if I just keep trudging away when it gets hard.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that you went through the same thing when you were building up to 70 miles a week and running?
Oh, 100%.
So you were at 20 miles a week and then 30.
Yeah.
And
then... in high school, I would do 30 to 40 maybe. And you always think it's a lot. When you're in it, you're like, man, I'm training a lot. But yeah, just building it up year by year, I think is also what's made it easier for me. I'm not just jumping. I guess with triathlon, I kind of did just jump into it. But the fact that I had spent so many years building up my running mileage, it definitely helped my mental state as well. And just the fact that I'm willing to put more effort into something.
And what was the distance you were, so 70 miles a week. So our audience is gonna be like, wow, that's a lot of mileage. What was the race distance? Was it cross country? Was it track?
Cross country and track, both of them. And track I did the 3K steeple and the 5K. So I was a longer distance track person, but nothing, I didn't do the 10K or anything like that.
So 70 miles a week for a 5K.
Yes, 70 miles a week for a 5K. Sometimes only 60 miles a week, it wasn't every week, but...
But it's about building the volume. You need your body to be strong and soak up the speed, obviously, that you're going to have to place on your body. So in the mind... So it seems like you were craving it. You were gravitating towards the running, and then you went to Wake Forest.
I went to Wake Forest, yes.
Okay. To do just track or cross country as well?
Yeah, so I knew I was going to do cross country and track. I ran in high school and then got recruited by a few different colleges, but decided on Wake in the end. And yeah, focused on distance running all 4 years. Knew I was going to do that. So.
Where did you grow up? Did you grow up here in San Diego?
Grew up in Encinitas.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm a local. Never thought I'd be back here and doing triathlon and living 10 minutes away from my parents. But
You know, it's really funny because sometimes when you're growing up, maybe this resonates with you, but like I grew up in Cape Cod, which people are like, wow, people actually live on Cape Cod. I remember when I went to college out in Arizona, people were like, people actually live on Cape Cod. I'm like, yeah, it was kind of ridiculous growing up by the beach and growing up there, but I was like, I got to get out of here and I'm never coming back, you know? Exactly. And so when I think about Encinitas, right? Like,
it's not like a vacation destination. I mean, it is a vacation destination.
It is a vacation. Like did you ever have that? Like, I got to get out of Encinitas.
I think that's like what college was for me. I was like, okay, like I've been here for too many years. I need to just have a change. I need to make a change. So I guess I flew all the way across the country. I didn't need to go that far, but I think it was good to get away because now that I'm back, I appreciate it so much more. And I'm like, okay, like Encinitas is actually pretty cool.
Encinitas is actually really cool.
Yes.
It's pretty amazing. So what about it do you appreciate now that you're back?
Oh, there's so many things. Definitely like having friends and family here, but also just the vibe. I don't know, like everyone's very relaxed, chill, sporty, athletic. Like it's just my kind of people, I guess. So definitely the people, just the overall culture. I like it.
And I know Wake Forest, but I can't remember where. Is it in the Carolinas?
Yeah, North Carolina.
Okay, that's like a totally different world.
So, no, it's definitely a totally different world.
From Southern California.
Oh, yeah. Like when I first got to Wake, first of all, I had no clothing to wear that would match. Like they're all preppy. I didn't recognize any of the clothing. I was like, I don't think I'm going to I can't do this. Everyone's super nice, but it's different for sure.
I find that New Englanders are super nice once you get past their wall. Yes, and I can say that because I'm a New Englander.
Yeah.
Did you find that? Because I think in the East, like you can find that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Wake has a good mix of all different types of people.
People coming from all over.
Yeah, there's a lot of people from like the New England area, and there's also like the Southern people and some West Coasters. So it wasn't like everyone was the same.
But like, growing up in New England, like Southern California was a totally different world.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but I wanted to live here for so long. I didn't even know why. And now I do. And now I know why. Like, I know why people live here in California. And I'm happy to share it.
Yes.
Okay, so you go to Wake for running. Did you get a scholarship?
I did, yes.
Nice. Parents were psyched?
Yeah, that's all the parents wanted. They were like in high school, they'd be hard on me. They're like, Ellie, you got to do well in this race. Like they were just, I don't know, they were definitely hard on me, but for a good reason. And then once I got to college, they kind of backed off a little. And they're like, all right, like, got your scholarship.
As they're like out drinking, like we won't have the house wine tonight. Exactly. We'll have the name brand wine. Our daughter got a scholarship. Yeah. And then where does triathlon come in?
So I did triathlons when I was younger. I grew up swimming, so I swam on an age group team from around like 5 years old to 12. And then through that swim team, I found these little kid triathlons that I used to do. And so I did those for a little bit. I actually was the Iron Kids national champion when I was 12.
What?
Yeah, that was my peak of triathlon.
So far.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the highlight of my triathlon career is when I was 12. Iron Kids champ. But yeah, so I did that for a few years. Always knew that I loved triathlon. I just like the combination of the three sports. It was just different. It was nice to mix it up from just swimming or running. But from those little triathlons I found running, found out that I was a pretty decent runner, and high school and college has a lot more opportunities for just running than it does for triathlon, especially when I was younger. So I chose to focus on running since I was the best at that sport out of the three disciplines, and got to Wake, did all the running, did the whole running thing, and then heard about this collegiate recruitment program from Barb Lindquist, and I was like, what? Like, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to continue with athletics after college. Like, I got a lot better my senior year in running, so I knew I wanted to keep doing athletics of some sort, I think, but definitely did not expect triathlon to come across my path again. I thought I quit when I was 12 when I peaked, but yeah, so talked to Barb, and she told me about this program, and I went to a camp after I graduated, a triathlon camp in Colorado. Tried out the sport for a little bit and decided I would give it a shot, and that's what I'm doing now.
Now, is Barb one of their like USAT's recruiters? Like, did she reach out to you, or did you know her just from being the Iron Kids champ?
I think my dad had heard about the program and then saw the contact name, which was Barb's.
Yeah.
And then I reached out to her in February of my senior year, so I was in the middle of indoor track season, I think.
And what's your academic situation like? Do you have a major? Or is there something that you're like thinking, okay, I'm going to, after school, like I'm kind of done with all this running and I'm going to do what you're supposed to do. Yeah. Did you have a part of that?
No, yeah, definitely. I'd had a couple internships in the summers prior to my senior year in marketing, and I was a business and enterprise management major with a concentration in marketing. So I definitely expected to get a corporate job or just something more standard like that. But since I had found barb pretty early in my senior year, like February, I hadn't lined anything up yet. So I was considering just going into the collegiate recruitment program right after I graduated.
So you've got this profession, and people you're in school with are going this professional path. Mm-hmm. And you're saying like, well, I did internships and I put all these studies in and all this academics, but I might do I'm not even gonna I'm gonna do a totally different sport now. I mean, not totally different because you still have the running. Did you find like a pull towards it? Were you scared about not pursuing the professional route?
I was definitely like nervous. I was like, I could just easily be done with running, stop working out. I was like that. And honestly, that sounded kind of good at the time. I was like, I have worked out since I was 5 years old. Like, obviously I've taken some time off here and there, but no, I definitely thought of that as an option. But then I also thought that I was 22 at the time, and I might as well see how far I can take athletics, even if it's risky, even if it might not be right for me, because you're only this young once. So I don't know, that was my mindset at the time, and I rolled with it.
Yeah, so there was something that was just calling you into the sport.
Yeah, and I knew like I said, done it when I was 12, and I really enjoyed it then, and why not try it professionally?
I love it. Why not?
Yeah,
why not give it a shot? So where does it go from there?
From
like getting in touch with Barb and saying, okay, I'm going to go I'm going to go into this program, and it's probably going to take like 6 months, and then I'll be like podiuming at TU. Right?
I mean, that was my initial thought. I was like, oh, okay, like I'm a good runner. Like I don't want to toot my own horn, but like I was a decent runner, and I was like, I swam when I was 12. Like this will be easy. Like swimming, biking, running.
So wait, I'm going to pause for a second because we want to give our audience some numbers. So like what was your was it the 5K distance?
Yeah, 5K distance.
Like what would you put that down in on a good day? What was your best day?
16:01 was my 5K PR on the track. And then I focused on the steeple mainly, and my 3K steeple was 9:56. I don't know if anyone knows what the steeple is.
Yes.
I didn't really know what it was until.
Yeah, you jump over steeples and run.
Yes, I jump over hurdles, big hurdles that can definitely hurt you if you hit them. So, and then I jump into a water pit too. I do weird things, guys, if you haven't realized.
All right, so you're a good runner. You're like, I got this. this. So then when is your life like, this is not going to be so beautiful?
So I go to the camp in the summer, and I hadn't swam at all. I think I had swam like maybe a couple times, like jumped in the pool, and then I had to show up to that camp where people had been swimming for a lot longer than 6 times in the pool, and I got mauled. I was like, first of all, at altitude, and I hadn't been in the water for years, and it was just a wake-up call. I was like, this might take a little longer than I thought to get good at swimming and even biking, but definitely swimming. And after the camp, I was like, all right, we got to start grinding away. And Barb isn't the coach of the actual collegiate recruitment program. It's Jared Evans. And since they're based here, I was able to start working with him pretty quickly after the camp. And I basically just went into a swim block for months, trying to hit certain swim times so I could actually get funding from USA Triathlon. Did
they give you feedback? I'm assuming it's Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did they give you feedback after that camp and was like, okay, for you, this is what the next step that you need to take?
Yeah, they did they took like swim footage too. So
they were like, you to the pool.
Yeah,
get to the pool.
We need to change you into a swimmer quickly. But yeah, no, they provided a lot of helpful feedback, and I just started, obviously I needed a lot of fitness too. So I just started doing a lot of swim workouts basically for months, and I'm still doing swim workouts and will continue to do swim workouts for months. So yeah, no, definitely it was a wake up call after that camp, and I'm still waking up now.
So is it mileage? Because just curious about like the swim base. Do they boost you up in the mileage, or is it like getting you stronger by pulling? Is it a little bit of everything?
That's another thing with triathlon. Like pulling is what they focus on a lot. At least my coach Jared focuses a lot on pulling. And coming from a running background, my arms are a little weaker than they need to be for triathlon swimming. So yeah, the focus is definitely a lot on pulling and building arm strength for sure.
So do you do any band without buoy?
Oh, we got a lot of band work. We got all kinds of band work going on. Yeah, bands with buoy, bands without buoy.
That's the strength. But that's just going to build strength. That's like, it's as a struggle as it is in the moment. Like, you're like, how am I going to get to the other side of the pool? At least this is my perspective. Like getting to the other side, and then once you're there, like then you start linking up like hundreds and then 200 with just the band, and you're like, wow. Like, how is this possible? But it's just building strength. It's just building strength.
Mm-hmm. But it's crazy. Like when you first start doing it and you've got that band and there's no buoy, like I feel like by the time I get to I'm standing up. Like I feel like I should be.
The first time I was literally vertical.
Yeah.
Like, what is this torture device? I was like, my legs are at the bottom of the pool. It's like, I don't think I can't swim. Like I couldn't even swim. I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. I was like, can I just use my legs again?
And do they have you doing dry land? Do you do dry land exercises too, like swim bands?
Mm-hmm. I'd go through like different blocks, but for a while I had to do like a lot of strength in the gym. Like now that we're racing, it's kind of harder to do that stuff, but I would get in the gym, do some pull-ups, which, oh man, I don't know what it is about pull-ups, but those just give me anxiety. I guess because I'm super tall, so I just blame that on the fact that I can't do pull-ups, but yeah, got a lot of that going on. And then swim cords too. I don't know if you guys use those, but I'll do that occasionally to get the activation work in. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do to get better in the pool.
And you must already feel a difference. Like just activate, just using the bands, just swimming with the band, like just a little bit. Yeah, drastic. So what's the time frame between now and when you got feedback from Colorado Springs?
Almost a year now.
Okay.
10, 11 months. Yeah,
okay.
It's been a while. I had actually taken some footage back in February of last year. I had to send that to Barb, like before I'd done anything. And I looked back at that the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I sent that to her. Like I looked so inadequate. I was like, why'd she even take me on? I was like, yeah, we've come a long way.
And then how's so the focus has been on the swim, but now you're in race season. So obviously they had to get the bike. And where were they putting your run? Were they just kind of just maintaining run?
Yeah, just maintaining run. I didn't start doing a lot of run workouts until just recently, maybe like January. But yeah, before that, it was just a lot of swimming. Mainly because I had to hit those like swim standard times to get into the program. After that, I kind of stopped my swim block and just swam a more normal amount.
So when was it determined that you were in the program?
December 31st, 2017.
Nice.
Yeah, so...
Was that the deadline?
Started off the new year wrong. Wasn't quite the deadline, but it was getting there.
That's cool. So this is how it works then, people. Like, so our annual fees, so that we don't have to pay that per race, like extra registration fee, is that they get you guys, they send you to a camp, then they're just like watching you. This is like kind of reminding me of like a sci-fi movie. Like
you feel like you're a lab rat.
Yeah, like they're watching you. They're like, that girl goes to the pool, that girl needs to get on the bike, that girl needs to start running. And then they send you to different coaches across the country based on where you, like, how many coaches around the country do you know? Like, are there pods of...
There are so many coaches. Yeah, it really just depends on your situation. For me, it was just easy because I am from Encinitas, and the program I wanted to get into was literally based in Encinitas, 10 minutes away. So
triathlon hub right here.
Yeah, so it all worked out for me pretty well. But yeah, a lot of other people who go through this are all across the United States, like different states, and then Barb will set you up with a coach in your area, or even a remote coach. You can do like online training too.
Nice. Cool. So those are all USAT coaches. And then, so... like Jared, is he coaching like the girls that you live with? Like you've got some other friends that so you guys are all being coached under him?
We're all being coached under him, yep.
So. Do you guys always train together?
We definitely have sessions that we do together, but we can also train on our own, or we do train on our own sometimes.
And then you're all team USAT. You're training with each other, racing against each other.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, yeah.
So so it's race season now, but I want to go back to the bike. Were you biking in college? Like where was your bike, or how much play are they putting on the bike? Because are you racing draft legal or?
Yeah, draft legal.
Draft legal. Yeah. So you need to get some like the technical piece of it.
No, there's a lot of like we focus a lot on skills and strategy, and we do a lot of like draft simulation type of work in this program. But yeah, the bike, I never biked in college. I had biked when I was younger. I actually did some crit races too, and I don't know what I was doing. And I was 11 or 12, not taking the normal 11 to 12-year-old path with athletics. But yeah, I even had like an aero helmet at one point. So I had been on a bike before, had some bike experience. But in college, the only time I would get on the bike was if I was hurt, which wasn't for super long periods of time. So yeah, definitely that's been a focus as well. Of course, swimming's been the main, but getting on the bike is also crucial.
And do you guys get support for equipment, like your bikes, and how does that happen?
Yeah, they give us a bike, thankfully, because bikes are expensive. And we get like a variety of different equipment, but nothing crazy. Definitely enough to make things happen.
Very
improve.
Cool.
Yeah.
And when was your first race? Was your first race this season Richmond?
It was in Barbados back in February.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that was a nice early season race. How'd that go?
That was actually probably my best race, just because I was coming off my swim block. So I felt a lot better in the ocean. And since I don't really have a swim base, it's just easy for me to lose that fitness as I'm racing, which I've found recently that I need to swim a lot more to maintain any kind of fitness that I gain. So unfortunately, I fell on the bike. I lost the front pack, but every triathlon has its ups and downs, which I'm realizing.
And are these races, BJ, you might know this too, like, are these races kind of a level of like WTS, like World Triathlon Series racing?
Yeah.
World Cup or
They're the Continental Cups, and then after that, it's the World Cup level, and then after that, it's WTS. We got 3 different levels going on.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. All right, I didn't know how that worked. Very cool. So is it an age limit, or is it really
No
like
age limit.
skill level,
Yeah,
like kind
it's
of
just-
like where you're competing, like where
Exactly.
it's appropriate for you to compete?
Yep, it's just skill level, basically. I mean, I think anyone can do it, but there's obviously more prize money at WTS.
Right, 'cause
Because you
there's
win $20,000 versus,
Right, because there's
600.
like, early 20s racing in ITU,
yeah.
like WTS.
there's people who
yeah,
run under
yeah.
23 and they'll do the regular,
Yeah.
Yes,
the regular
yeah.
race. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, this is so cool to understand how this all works.
It gets complicated. Like, I'm still figuring it out. Like,
Yeah.
Triathlon, man, they make it so, like, running was simple. That's what I always say. I'm like, man, running was simple. You got your shoes, you know what race you're doing, you just show up. Now triathlon, it just adds so many layers.
Yeah,
of
you got your
complication.
bike and you better have that helmet
God,
buckled or you're done. You got to
so many
mount
things.
and dismount at this line,
Yep.
before this line, after this line.
I always have to think about that during the race too. I'm like, hey, this one's before, this one's after. Because you're like so tired. You have to think about all these things while you're like trying to work out hard. Your heart rate's like through the roof, and you're like, I can't think right now.
So coming into this sport as a non-swimmer, how's your
Yeah.
swim race experiences been?
Ooh. I mean, open water is also a lot different from pool swimming. I feel like I have a lot of pool fitness, but now just the strategy I need to work on, which I don't know. I've just learned something new every race about open water, like sighting, just trying to stay on people's feet. Like, there's just so much you have to do right. And especially for me, not being the strongest swimmer, I have to do everything right. Or if one thing goes wrong, my whole swim goes wrong. So
How is it as far as like the battle?
battle.
Is there battles out? Like, is there like, because I watch
Turnbury battle.
Yeah,
There's
like
battles, yeah.
there's battles. And how are you with that? Like, a lot of people have, a lot of age groupers have panic over the swim, and we're not even swimming in like a quarter of the battle that you guys are swimming in, or really what you're prepping for. Because if you watch those like WTS races. The buoys are like that. We like
They
watch it.
focus the
We'll
camera.
pause it and be like, "Oh my god, that
They
guy!"
put it right there, and then we
getting
rewind.
mauled, yeah.
We're like, look at that guy. He got dunked. No, that guy got dunked. And
Everyone's getting dunked. It's fun.
How is it possible?
I know.
So if you're not like if you're not in that first like 3 or 4 people, or if you're not like the last 2 or 3, like if you're in that clunk, like
Yeah, and you look up and you like see those front people and you're like, oh my god, that looks so nice. Like they just have all this clear water and you're like, I'm getting mauled. Yeah, no, people get aggressive, and I think the key is just not panicking. Like as much as you want to panic and freak out, like just trying to remain calm even when you're getting dunked
How do you
under.
not panic?
I mean, obviously you panic a little bit, but then you have to like pull yourself back and be like, okay, like I know how to swim. I can lift my head up and breathe. Like we're gonna be fine.
is that what's going through your? Is that what this is a
Yes,
positive
this is my
self-talk?
dialogue. Ellie, you're not gonna die. Like sometimes you're like, man, like I might like drown out here.
Yeah.
But no, just trying to remain calm once you catch yourself starting to panic.
It reminds me of that story that Matt McElroy was telling on his episode when he was like, got really like dunked and like pushed under and everything. And he came up and was like, and then he was like, I gotta go. Cause he was like losing the pack. And he realized in that moment, like, I could like freak out and I think I almost died, but like, I gotta get in that with that group. And you're just so engaged in the race and the purpose of you being out there, which is like to be your best, right? To be your best and race your best. Just so what? So we can look back and say, okay, well, I could have done that a little better. I could have done that a little, right? Like this is how we start. We have to start to nitpick it. But yeah, I that's how I've gotten through it in the past. And, especially at the beginning of triathlon when I was like, oh, I know how to, like, I love swimming, whatever. And I just would like jump right in the front. And I remember the first time like, oh my God, I'm going to die, and just like, you're not going to die. You just got another breath.
Exactly.
Like you just took another breath. You're okay. And I think when we focus on like, my chest is closing up, like that's going to make it worse, right? What we focus on expands.
Exactly.
So yeah, just like restarting. And I think the level that you're racing at requires this level of being present. Like you have got to be in the
100%.
moment.
It's amazing. Like not just the swim, but the bike. Like my last race, my first transition, I stumbled getting on my bike. I lost maybe like 4 seconds from the people I came out of the water with. And I was like, oh, it's fine. Like I'm going to catch them in like 5 seconds once I get my shoes in. And then I never caught them. I was like, oh, like they just started biking away from me. Like it's amazing how a few seconds can make such it can affect your entire race in this sport.
Yeah.
Because once people start drafting and they're together and you're alone, like you're not catching them. So,
yeah. Or you're just going to like use everything
yes,
to
or you
catch
just
up to
waste
them.
all your energy. Exactly.
So after Barbados, how many times have you raced this year? Are you pretty solid into your season, or
4 times? Yeah, I went to Florida a couple weeks after that. Had two races there, and then my most recent in Virginia. Virginia was definitely the most humbling so far for me.
Yeah.
Didn't go very well. Yeah, like I said, just need to work on the strategy. And I definitely I panicked in the water a couple times, lost the pack, and then you're just off. It's rough.
Go ahead.
And do they have the same thing on the bike? If you get lapped on the bike, you're out of the race.
Yeah. I think it's like, if you get lapped, you're out.
Lapped by the lead group.
Yeah.
So after that, so did you push it for that bike? Were you just like,
well, that was the problem.
out?
I like came out of the water like basically last. I had a few people with me, and then I lost them in transition. So then I was just on my own the entire bike, and I was like, this is just. I felt like I don't want to say embarrassed, but I was like, I'm so much better than this. Like, what am I doing? And it was just all like the fact that I'm a rookie and I made a bunch of mistakes. Thankfully, I can run well, so I ended up finishing in the middle. But yeah, it's got
to be nice to know that, though. Like,
it is nice.
Like, you have that run in your back pocket.
Exactly.
But to dig deep in that bike, there's probably an instance there where you're like, I'm just gonna wait for the next group to come through, or I can use this as a TT and just get as fast as I can and use this as experience.
Yeah.
See what I have in my run legs after an effort like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I basically time trialed the bike and came off the bike feeling pretty heavier than I have felt in my other races because I was alone. But I was still able to power through. So that's nice knowing that. Definitely learned that I can still run well off the bike. So even when the bike's hard and I'm not drafting.
you're in the race, right? And you just got to be in the moment. You got to make as best choices as you can to get as high up as you can in the rankings in that day. But now you come off it, right? And now there's like the kind of the lull after the storm. And so because, you kind of had a couple panics on the swim, like where were you mentally with that?
Oh yeah. Like coming out of the water, I was definitely like mentally
even
upset.
like you were
like
like
in the race. I
it
was
was
kind of
kinda,
new. I was like, oh man, like this isn't going according to plan. I still try my best, but yeah, after the race, I definitely was disappointed for a while. It takes me like a couple of days if I have a bad performance or just one that I feel like is bad for me, even if it's not really that bad. It takes me a couple of days to do some like self-reflection and just like think back on like the mistakes I made and I don't know, just realize that it's not the end of the world. It's just racing. Obviously, it's a little more serious when you're a professional athlete, but yeah, I think I just give myself 24 to 48 hours to be upset and then I get over it.
I like the deadline.
Yeah,
I like the deadline. Yeah. I think the deadline is good. Before I had kind of the mindset that I have now and working up to the mindset I have now, and of course I'm not competing at your level, I would give myself a deadline. You
have to.
It'd
be
be
drive
like
yourself insane. Like there's no point in dwelling on the past. It's
right.
the past. Yeah.
Now here's my question. You came out of the swim and you're kind of like feeling that like that kind of that negativity of like, oh God, like I know it's already like this is going to be, and that kind of feels heavy. What do you think would have happened if you didn't carry that mental piece into the bike?
Oh, I think I definitely would have had a better transition and I would have been with people on the bike and I probably would have finished a lot higher in the end. But in the moment, it's hard to get over it. And yeah.
It's so hard because those kinds of thoughts are heavy and they weigh, they're really dense and they weigh you down. But when you're in them, it's like you can't be present when you're in those thoughts, even though you're having those thoughts in the present moment, but you're not present because what you're thinking about already happened and it doesn't exist anymore. So the only thing you can do to drop those, and they hassle you like anything. I mean, it doesn't mean that those thoughts are going to go away like in an instant. No way. They might have still hassled you, but it's like this constant redirection just back to like, okay, here's the pedal stroke. Here is my hands on the handlebars. Like, okay, I can feel that in my quad. Were you doing like any of that to just try and like bring yourself back to the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like right when I came out of the water, I was like, just flooded with like negative thoughts and I've been racing for so long. I was like, okay, we gotta it happened, we're over it. And I just focused on hammering up to transition and yeah, just those little things like, okay, run fast to transition, get on your bike. And I obviously stumbled on the bike. So I feel like that just kind of set me back again to the negative thoughts. But yeah, I mean, you can't do anything about what already happened. So you just have to focus on those little things moving forward.
Yeah.
And when you get to the run, which is your I shouldn't say your comfort zone, but you're more confident
definitely
in
my comfort zone. Yeah.
Does all that stuff get washed away? Like when you're on that run, you're like, okay, zone in. You go back to college, go back to high school, and you're just like
It's like a
dialed in.
relief more than anything. I'm like, oh, like on the bike, I was like, just get to the run because you can do that well. So, I mean, obviously once I keep doing triathlon for longer, I think the bike and swim will obviously cause me a lot less anxiety. But right now having that run and just knowing like I can run is so comforting, even when I'm having a hard time on the bike.
Yeah, it's just getting out, getting into your sneakers and just like, where you're just like, it's on. Like, I own this.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot more confident on the run, let's just say. And like the mental confidence is huge for me. Like growing up, I went through phases where I was not confident with running, and it just affects my race performance significantly. Before, I don't even realize it until after sometimes, but having that mental edge is huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. And so you can have that with the swim and the bike, even where you are now, because so the actual feeling that you get of that confidence of the run, I'm sure you can recall what that feels like, right?
Oh, 100%.
So it's taking that feeling and it's having that feeling when you're on the swim, and it's having that same feeling when you're on your bike, even if there's that voice in your head that's like, this isn't even real.
Yeah.
But it's the feeling is what the manifestation is. So the feeling is what's going to really, really help you along, I think, with the physical work to start to shift that and have that same confidence. Because I'm sure you want that same confidence jumping off the pontoon, right?
I guess. Yeah. I think that would help a lot. Like when you start going through those panic attacks or whatever in the water, just like being more confident would help a lot.
So I would say, not that I'm your coach, but I would say like that run confidence that you have, really feel into that and start applying it in all these different places. Like apply it like when you're checking out at the grocery store. Like I got this checkout. I got this checkout, right?
I'm gonna nail this social interaction.
Yeah, I'm gonna nail this. Like I've got this. Whatever it may be. Like
I mean, sometimes that causes anxiety. Like am I wrong? Like, okay, like I don't know. Like, you can't really talk well, and you're like, this is awkward. So yeah, maybe that would help me.
So like taking that, getting the feeling of what that confidence is, and knowing that you don't have to just apply it to the run. It's easy to apply it to the run because you have the data and the information to back it up.
Yeah.
But you can take that feeling and you can apply it to anything that you do, like depositing something at the bank. Like I got this deposit, like
I love that. Yeah, that's great.
and play with that. And so maybe it might even be like less pressure, but almost as effective applying it to things that feel mundane, doing the laundry. Because you're not selectively applying it.
No,
now you're like applying it like I've got this sip of water, right? Like I'm gonna get this sip of water down, and this is just like coming in right now. So I feel compelled to share it, and I think that what you'll do is you'll give that confidence. You'll say, wait a minute, that doesn't have to just be for the run. I'm gonna get the confidence, and then the data and the information is gonna catch up.
Oh, yeah. It becomes like a constant state of mind rather than just like an exercise thing.
Yeah.
Or a performance thing. It's just like your way of living.
Right. Like this whole life is just a game. Like it's a game of life.
A game, yeah.
It is. It's just a game and we're all players. So I always like to apply that like with the like, I'm going to go pick out this kale at the farmer's market.
Pick out the best
I'm going to get it. And these strawberries. And I just picked the best bunch of strawberries. And just taking that confidence and letting it be the way that you move through the world. And then just playing with it, like, and understand that this is just a game. Like we get to play it any way we want. And we can get so stuck in our stories about not being a swimmer or not being, this or that. But we can change those stories too, because we're the ones that are writing the script every single day.
I love that so much. That is exactly what I'm trying to do. Yep.
Yeah.
I relate.
All right. I love that. Yes. Okay. So what's next then? So that was your last race was Richmond.
Yes.
And so before we talk about what's next, let's talk about what you took away from that race and what you're going to apply to the next race.
Yeah. Definitely the confidence thing in the water is huge for me. Just believing in myself more. And obviously getting back into the pool to do some more hard workouts is key as well. I need to work on my fitness, but yeah, just thinking of myself as more than just a runner. I think that's the main thing that that's how I've been going about this so far. Just like, I'm a runner. Like, I mean, I can kind of bike, kind of swim, but the only thing I can really do is run. Like, I'm just not confident enough. So taking that state of mind and throwing it in the trash when I line up for my next race will be so helpful, I think.
as you're swimming, I'm a swimmer. I'm a swimmer.
That's what I need to think instead of I'm a runner and I'm just learning how to
wait
swim.
till the run. Just wait till the run. Just wait till the run. Yeah.
Because that's what you're going to continue to create over and over again in your performances.
Exactly.
If you tell yourself like you're just a runner, then you're just going to be a runner. But you can be a swimmer, a biker, a runner, like a triathlete. Like, and in this sport, like where you're going, you know very well that you've got to be excellent at all three.
Oh yeah, exactly.
There's no like the game has changed, my friend. Like you can't just run it. I mean,
this guy's swimming. They're just swimming so fast and then running like 30-minute 10Ks.
Yeah, I feel like the stigma around triathlon used to be like everyone's subpar 3 sports. They put them all together and you got a triathlete.
Right.
But now looking at the top ITU people especially, I'm like, hey, you gotta swim really fast, bike really fast, and be really fast, a fast runner. So
it's just so magnificent though to like watch Flora Duffy. Like she's just
example.
Super graceful, so gritty, and just beautiful creation watching her race.
And she's leading the races. Like she's leading out of the swim or in the top 3. Yeah. She's leading the bike or with 2 other cyclists. And then she pushes it out on the run. So her stigma was she's a cyclist. She's, strong cyclist, ex-terror. But what she's done is just morphed into this person who is just, you see the natural over the past 5 years of just like, she's good at everything.
Yeah.
There's not one thing that she's deficient in. And it all came from being a strong cyclist.
Yep.
So there's no reason why other people can't just take whatever their specialty is, the swimmer or the runner, and just transform yourself into that full like triathlete. Like,
and that's the thing. It took her 5 years. And I think when I initially came into this, I was like, it'll be a year. I guess, it takes longer than a year to become a Flora Duffy. So,
but think about how fast I'm sure there's times where it feels like a day is like 100 hours, but like when you look back where you were a year ago, like a year flies.
Yeah. Oh, I cannot believe it's already June.
A year flies. And who's it? Claire Michelle. She got second? I can't remember what race it was, but it was recent. It basically, what did she say? It was like 4 years to move up 1 spot, but like I did it, kind of thing. And it makes you realize like at the tippity top, that's what it takes. But that's what it takes, right? So everybody is moving. When you're up there, Flora Duffy is probably going to be Ironman world champion. I mean, I can't imagine that she's going to like stop at ITU, which I love, by the way, what you guys are doing to long course. You're absolutely like, now you're making that like you've got to be an incredible swimmer, incredible biker, incredible
Standards
runner.
Always raising. Yep.
It's unbelievable. Oh, did you pull that up?
Yeah, she came in 5th at Yokohama. I think she was like 6th.
Oh yeah, she was 6th. Yeah, and it was like
so one spot.
One spot, but she had been working so hard for it, and that's her story, right? You don't know how it's all going to shake down for you.
Yeah.
So what's next? What's next on the race schedule? What's the rest of the season
look World
look
Cup
like?
next week?
Sweet.
Yep, in Mexico. Puerto Mexico. No idea if I pronounced that right, but I actually went there in high school. I forgot to mention I did triathlon for like a year in high school, very briefly. I had done a junior race in Mexico, and I'm going back next week.
Nice. To the same venue?
Same venue. I'm like, what? Like,
That's
what
so cool.
Some random little city in Mexico, but we're making a reappearance. So
that's next week?
Yeah. That's
How you
next
feeling?
Week. Definitely nervous because I don't really feel like I've mastered the Conti Cup level yet, but I'm excited. I think it'll play to my strengths more because it's an ocean swim. It's warmer. I like the heat, so we'll see.
Yeah. And you're a swimmer.
And I'm a swimmer. Definitely an ocean swimmer. Love open water. Yeah. Yes. So we got it all. I mean, it's all just, and I'm a biker too. There's a hill. I'm really good at hills. So.
And then you're a runner. We know that. Yeah. But that's cool. You're a full spectrum triathlete.
I'm a triathlete.
Yeah. You've got everything it takes to make a statement at that race.
Exactly. Yeah,
Very
we're going to
cool.
make a statement for sure.
Yeah, you are. I love it. All right. So you get a World Cup next week. And then how long is your season?
So after that, I'm going to take a couple weeks off or just a break from racing and training. I'll still do some training, but we have a little bit of a break. And then we're going to reevaluate, reassess, see what kind of races to do after that based on Mexico.
Cool.
Yeah, so don't have a schedule yet for the rest of the year.
And can you jump, so these Conti Cups, they're all sprint, right? Sprint distance
I think
for the most
I've
part?
only done sprints. I did actually one Olympic. I did Escape Surf City, non-draft. But other than that, I've done all sprint.
Do you have the option to jump into any races like the Carlsbad Triathlon or anything that's...
Yeah.
Because you ran the Carlsbad 5K.
Yeah, I ran the
5,000.
Carlsbad 5K. Yeah, so we're allowed to do that stuff if we want to, or if my coach sees that as a good opportunity. But our focus is definitely ITU.
But as a professional, you're not limited by anything that you can.
No, yeah, we can pretty much do whatever we want. Yeah. So I could do an Ironman next week if I really wanted to do an Ironman next week, but I don't know about that.
That would probably take away from the short-term goals.
Yeah, maybe just do an Ironman for Mexico, see how that goes. Probably recover. Right?
Yeah, because you're all about speed right now.
Yeah.
You are all about speed. Mm-hmm. So you're all about speed, but you're still doing 4-hour bikes.
Yeah.
And, what's like a long run for you?
Longest run I've done is 1 hour, 40 minutes. So the running isn't too crazy. It's mainly the biking I've found is a little nuts.
And within that 4 hours, are you doing like intervals and things like that?
It depends. Yeah, sometimes I've gone out for 3 to 4 hours, just easy aerobic, well, easy in quotes, but and then other times we have efforts thrown in there. It really just depends on the block or the day.
Mm-hmm. And so what do you see, like, take all like limitations away. What do you see for your trajectory?
In like 3 to 4 years time, I want to be at the top of WTS, but that's a lot to do. I have a lot of work ahead of me. I'm realizing I'm gonna have to grind a lot to get there, but I'm definitely willing to put in the work. I think initially I said, like, in my head, I'm gonna give this 1 to 2 years to 2020, see what happens, but I think I'm willing to put in more time. So that'd be ideal if I was at the top of the world level or WTS level in a few years.
It's perfect to have those goals. Like, that's why we call this out. It's like, and to visualize it. But then, okay, it's up there. Mm-hmm. Now you detach. Now it's like, let's grind. Let's get to the pool today. Let's do this set. Yeah. Let's do the bike. Let's do this. And continually come back into the moment to give each workout in each session 100% of yourself. Mm-hmm. Because what we find is a lot of people will continually go out to that goal or be like, well, it's looking at their watch 2 years now and I'm not, like, things aren't happening.
Exactly.
But you have to be flexible. Like, you have that goal, that pie in the sky, which everyone should have. Like, we're not saying don't have goals. Like, goals are so key and you got to visualize where you're going to go, but yet dive into that instance of every session. And there's going to be doubt. There's going to be sessions where you're like, I'm not hitting my times.
Yeah.
But that's when you just do the work. Like, you just, it's all right. You just do the work, like, day in and day out. Yeah. So have you come to that point yet in your training where you've done a session and you're like, I'm not hitting it, I'm not doing it, and so what now?
I've definitely hit like the breaking point during sessions and just felt like I needed to stop doing it or give up. But I just remember, like, you got to take it day by day. You have to focus on the small goals, the small wins, nailing out sessions that seem impossible at the time. Being able to look back and realize, like, that's going to help me reach that long-term goal, that huge goal in 4 years. Like, that's what gets me through. But I've definitely had periods where I just want to stop and think it's not worth it anymore. Then I just have to bring myself back and realize, Ellie, this is 3 to 4 years. Okay. It's okay. If you have one bad day, we're just going to try our best, see what happens on the day, no matter what.
That's so awesome. Is your default to push through, or is your default to back off?
I would say push through 90% of the time. Sometimes I just have I struggle, but through the years I've gotten a lot better at just pushing through no matter what. Even if unless I'm like hurt or severely injured.
Obviously, yeah. If you have severe pain,
my hip might fall off, but I'm just gonna keep going and hurt myself. No.
But there's that fine line between pain and just you feel a sensation, and it's like, this is hard. Well, yeah, it's supposed to be hard.
That's what I have to tell myself. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh, this is supposed. Like with running, it's kind of gotten to the point where I'm so familiar with how I feel. Like I'm just comfortable with pain. I think biking and swimming has just been harder for me that way because I'm not as familiar with the sensations that you go through during a hard workout. Like, I'm like, this should feel comfortable. Like, I should feel strong. But I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't. I'm just learning as I go how things are supposed to feel, I guess.
So on a recent run, you had, I think it was, and by the way, Ellie has an awesome YouTube channel. You guys need to check it out.
You guys should definitely check out my YouTube. We got some great videos on there.
You had an 80-minute run on the plan, and it was whatever you could do.
Oh, yeah.
So you had the option. To take it easy and take it slow. Athletes, listen up. So you had the option to do that. Or you had the option to add tempo or intervals or whatever. Yeah. And what did you choose?
I went into it not putting any restrictions on myself. I was like, Ellie, if you feel like going easy today, we're going to go easy. So the first half, I took it pretty comfortably. And then I was like, you know what? You feel good. We're going to take advantage of this and we're going to go hard. We're going to go hard because I knew that physically I could do it. And mentally I was in a good headspace. So definitely didn't have to take it hard, but for some reason I just felt like it. I don't know.
Now here's the point. So now what have you done on the bike and the swim? Have you had similar
I don't know
instances?
if I have that. I don't have that yet on the swim and the bike, but...
So if they say take it easy on the bike or take it easy on the swim, you're like, I'm so easy.
This is way too related. Yeah, like when they say take it easy on the swim or the bike, I'm like, yes, taking it easy. Like, easy. That's so true. I didn't even... Wow, I'm like getting all these like things coming to me right now.
Well, I see you in the hot tub, like cruising, like at Agua Norte, like, I'm just sitting here by myself.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. That's my swim sessions. That's why I haven't done so well yet, because I'm just in the jacuzzi. No,
but I think that's key. I think it's good to, and what Jess was talking about before is like, don't be selective with where you push. And
wow, that's so true.
It's not, you're not alone. Like this is what I go through, what you go through, what my athletes go through. It's like, we want to be there. We want to be great, right? Yeah. But we selectively choose, and we want to be great in nutrition. We want to be great in recovery. We want to be great in our relationships, but we're selectively doing it. And then it's pausing and getting in that space and saying, okay, why am I selectively choosing to only eat well on Wednesdays through Friday, and on the other days I'm not, but I know that it's detracting from my performance. Like get into that gap, we call it, like jump in there and be like, okay, why?
Yeah.
Why am I being selective? And it usually comes down to you're comfortable. Like we're all comfortable. I'm comfortable, running fast. You're comfortable running fast. Jess is comfortable in the pool. There's nothing, or in the swim, there's nothing that can shake her. But can you translate that to everything else?
Yeah, that's the hard thing with triathlon. Yeah. It's having to transfer that.
I know, but so it starts with, and this goes for everything, right? It starts with not giving fuel to the stories that we already have set, right? Like you've already said it. I'm a runner. That's my comfort zone. Yeah. I'm familiar with the pain. So for you to go out and do like hammer time that might have even been, would you say that might even have been easier for you than taking that run super easy when you felt 100%. Really good?
Yeah. And I have like no anxiety going to hard runs ever. Like I'm like, oh yes, like I get to do a hard run. Like obviously I know it's gonna be hard, but I know what's going to come. Like, I know the feelings. I'm aware of what's going to happen, how I'm going to feel, how my mind's going to go, like, all that. It's just no.
But you're not a different person from a runner to the bike. You're still the same person. Yeah. Can you see this? Like, you're like, I didn't come over here.
In a therapy session, I'm like compartmentalizing everything in my life. Yeah, for real though. No, yeah, 100%.
But we all do it. We all do it. And it's, but like, to go out there and now start to make, right? So we hear this all the time, like make your weakness your strength, right? Like it's so cliche, but it's like here's the gift of you being in your comfort zone on the run. It's like, well, you've developed that. So you can develop, and you know this already. You can develop that in the run, and you can develop that in the swim.
Yeah.
And also, you have to reach this goal in 3 to 4 years, which I know you can reach that goal because I see even beyond that goal. So I see you at the top of WTS, and then what's like a year or two after that, right? It's the next Olympics.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So
that it is.
Yeah, I mean, and I love these like goals, and so like seeing yourself like in your downtime when you're hanging out in your Normatec boots, like take a second to like feel what it's going to be like to be on that podium in WTS, like again.
Yeah,
here I am again. Like sometimes I was like, does Gwen ever get bored of like being on the podium?
Oh my God. That must be the worst feeling ever. All the work you put in paid off.
Even just to take a minute of like just feel like, because the feeling's a manifestation, like feeling the podium, feeling like your feet in your shoes on the podium, like getting really detailed about it. And then coming back to the Normatec boots and whatever you're doing, right? Doing a video or whatever. It's like BJ was saying, like detaching from it. Like don't hang around in that feeling all day long, but like you just keep putting it out there. And then you do the work every day. And then guess what? You're going to be feeling your feet in your shoes on that podium. Yeah. And it's going to rock. And you're going to be like, holy crap, like I created this.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's super exciting, right? I'm getting so fired up, like to watch your career.
Now. Like,
yeah.
Have all these like different thoughts and
we should go out and hammer it in the pool right now.
Yeah. Let's go do a swim session right now. Max 100s, anyone? I'm a swimmer.
Hell yeah. I love it. But I also watched a recent video where you're having, I love how you called it a quarter life crisis. You were having like a quarter life crisis.
A little bit.
And so that will happen, right?
Yeah.
This isn't all unicorns and rainbows and glamour. Being a professional triathlete is not that glamorous.
Not at all. No.
What's the least glamorous thing about what you do? About this dream you're living?
I feel like you'll just wake up one day, look in the mirror and be like, oh, I'm a mess. So you kind of just like self-care goes out the window. Like your room's in shambles. Like you're just like, what have I been doing? And you look back, you're like, all I've done is swim, bike, and run for like 2 weeks straight. I haven't cleaned my room. I haven't brushed my hair properly. Like it's just, you don't look that great all the time. You kind of just feel a little lost. Yeah, I guess just that. I don't know. Sometimes it just hits you that you're living kind of a crazy lifestyle and you don't know what you're doing to yourself.
Would you have it any other way right now?
I'm living the 23-year-old dream. You know, I remind myself, I'm like, I could sit at a desk. I could just not move all day long, but I don't think I'd be very
You could
fulfilled.
be wearing like nylons.
Yeah. And then I picture myself in the mirror wearing a suit and I'm like, I think I'd rather have messy hair and be in a swimsuit than an actual suit. So.
Right. And we're not dogging suits or swimsuits or whatever kind of suit, but it's important to say like, okay, if this is my last day on earth, am I doing what I want to be doing?
Yeah.
And would you say you're doing what you want to be doing?
I'm still trying to figure out my life. Every day I kind of wake up, not questioning my life path, but I think every 23-year-old is.
I think we should always
every
question
day, yeah.
I think we should always question what we're doing.
But I think I'm doing the right thing right now for myself. So.
What else? I had something else I was just thinking about. Recovery.
Oh yeah.
Recovery and nutrition.
Yeah. What have you learned about recovery, adding like 2 new sports into your life?
Yeah, I've realized that recovery is so crucial because you're doing a lot more hard workouts than you were when you were just running. Like with running, you had your Tuesday workout. At least in college, you had your Tuesday hard workout and your Friday hard workout. Other than that, you had a lot more easy runs thrown in there. Like you were just able to recover faster. Now it really has to be a priority. Like if you're not swimming, biking, or running, you're laying on the couch. You're not out like walking around for miles on end, like tiring yourself out for the next, because you know you have so many sessions the next day. So definitely just being aware of like how much time you're spending on your feet outside of working out and knowing that you don't really have the freedom of just like going on a hike or doing more exercise. You know what I mean? So
what do you do for recovery? What are your faves?
Definitely laying down, watching some YouTube. I use the boots sometimes, like you mentioned, the Normatec boots. I get a massage every week, which I think is the best. Massage helps me so much. So definitely doing that, being sure we're getting in the adequate nutrition as soon as we can after sessions. That is also very key. And yeah, just focusing on like relaxing or doing relaxing activities.
Do you
things
roll?
I enjoy. I try to roll. I definitely don't roll as much as I
try
should.
to roll.
They say how often do they say to roll? Like
every day.
We roll every day.
Like you guys roll? You guys are rollers?
But you know what I do? I take a little bit of a rolling hack because we have the Trigger Point roll. Do you have a Trigger Point
they
roller?
actually gave that to us at camp.
Oh, cool.
Our
Yeah.
CRP camp.
So we have the orange, like the regular one, but then we also have the black one,
Nice.
which is
the vibe yet?
No.
Yeah, we have the vibrating one. We'll have to try that
That's
before you leave
extra.
today. It's
Vibrating
awesome.
one? Oh, man.
Yeah. So this is my hack. We've got the regular rollers, but then we have the extreme roller, which is like 3 times as hard. So I figure, well, if I do that for like even 2.5 minutes, like on my key spots, like no matter how tight, like if I'm like, I just want to go to bed and I'm like, okay, I got to roll. I'll literally take like 2.5 minutes and just get the super hard roller out and just hit like a couple of my spots and then be like, all right, victory, I'm going to bed. Yeah. So we pretty much roll all the time. Now that said, I don't think I did that all the time when I was triathlete. No. Like right now I'm just running.
But we have a lot of yoga. We do a lot of yoga.
We do a lot of yoga.
Do you find that helps a lot for recovery? Like I haven't gotten into yoga ever.
Absolutely.
Huge.
Really?
I think it really does. Like last week I did a trail run and I came back and literally like picked you up and went to your class. And that first down dog, I was like, oh my God, like I thought both of my Achilles were gonna like snap. Yeah. But you're just like in there and you're just kind of like moving your body in a way that like maybe in that moment, it's gonna take a couple breaths to make it move that way. But after class, I felt so good.
Oh man.
And I felt so good the next day. I didn't think I was gonna be able to run the next day and I went out and ran again the next day.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've been practicing yoga since like the early 90s. I've been practicing yoga for a long time, but I was like a once a weeker for many, many, many years. And I would say maybe like, I don't know, for the last 10 years. No, well, since triathlon's been, started triathlon like 13 years ago. That I realized that once a week wasn't enough because it was just kind of like exactly where I was before.
That's what I was going to say. Like, did you actually
It was like a reset. Yeah, so it wasn't really
I'm
helping.
Still at square one. I'm still at square one.
Yeah, so like every week, I was like every Thursday, I'm
Still
back
can't
where
touch
I
my
was
toes.
before. So I found like I went to 2 times a week and made that work.
Yeah.
And then I found that like at Ironman training, 3 times a week was like a sweet spot. And sometimes that meant like just getting on YouTube and doing half an hour, like just following somebody's flow for half an hour or 20 minutes helped so much.
Wow.
So and also it strengthens you in a way that it's getting out of the swim, bike, run muscles. Like you're really moving a lot from like the inside out, I think, and maybe getting into kind of the corners and clearing out the cobwebs a little bit.
Yeah, it's so different from cardio.
Yeah, it's super different.
So
The stress
different.
you put on your body. Yeah.
And in Ironman, like the weeks leading into Ironman, my tapers, I do a 2-week taper, and that's my yoga practice goes from 3 times a week up to like 5 or 6.
Oh, when you're
Like-
Ironman training, that's probably crucial.
Like, yeah, it's so good. And it's
Yeah.
just because your volume's coming down, you know, you're just doing intense sessions. Your training goes from like 20 hours down to like 8, or
Yeah.
6 even. But the yoga practice just picks up, and I find like I'm able to get to the start line like super healthy and crisp. Like there's
Nice.
the
Yeah.
grogginess comes out. Of course I get massage. I think massage is awesome too, and acupuncture, but the yoga practice just it just keeps that body
Nothing
fluid.
like it.
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah,
that's
I
what
think
we
so.
found. That's what we found. And our athletes get it on the plan whether they like it or not, like 2 or 3 times a week.
doing yoga.
You're doing
Whether
yoga.
Yeah.
they do it or not, who knows? No, I think they do actually
they do
because
it.
they're
They
feeling the
understand
benefit.
the benefits, yeah.
But it's not something that I would recommend that somebody's like, if they're tapering right now for like Ironman, like, oh, I'm going to start doing yoga.
No.
Like, don't
Yeah.
go start
No,
doing
don't
yoga. Like,
start doing
Might get a little
anything.
sore.
Yes.
yeah, like don't.
Make it a part of your practice,
Yeah.
though. I Ironman Wisconsin, I went there by myself, finished Ironman, you know, went back and watched the midnight finishers because you have to do that. Couldn't sleep all night. Went to a 6 a.m. yoga class the next day. I knew it was heated, and I just knew that it was going to be good. I hobbled my way down there because I didn't have a car.
Yeah.
And it was a mile away. But the point of this is like, I knew I was going to get on the airplane.
Yeah,
And you just think, so this is the whole recovery thing. You just think about what's best for me the next day.
Yeah.
And for me, that yoga practice was what was important.
Yeah, what
And
you need to do.
it benefited me because my recovery was jump started. And now, okay, I'm not sitting on the couch just chilling out and like eating pizza and like now it's
Recovering.
done. Right.
Yeah.
Like get back at it. Get back at it.
Yeah.
The body wants to move, and that's what we found in
It's so true. Body wants
training.
to move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Body wants to move. All right. I have one more question.
Let's hear it.
So let's hear it.
Bring it
So
on.
you kind of came into this program and you were like, yeah, 1 to 2 years. That sounds good.
Yeah.
And now you're realizing like, holy crap, like I'm in this development stage with other people, like everybody. And it doesn't matter where you are. Like you're still in the, Flora Duffy isn't going into races like she might be
it.
like, I've got this, but she's putting out the effort. Like she's still like growing and learning and training and going harder and pushing her limits. And you're going to have to continue to do that too. But what you've entered with this realization of like, whoa, it's going to be more than like a year is you've entered into the world of the unknown.
Yeah.
And so as somebody who's like, quote unquote, like kind of living her dream, right? Living what's aligned with like your heart, and you're walking into this unknown. What do you have to say about like, to somebody maybe who's doing this, but like to stay committed to it? How do you stay committed to it?
I think just knowing that I'm putting down consistent training every day helps me a ton, because that's how I approached college running. Like I didn't get good until the end. Like there was years where I was in a developmental phase. Like I was just doing more miles, but I was feeling horrible. I didn't see any of the work paying off in the short term. But now knowing like in the long term that actually did lead to something amazing, and it led to a great running career and now triathlon, I think just, like I said, putting down the consistent training every day is what's going to get me through and what everyone should think about, just the day-to-day grind. And knowing that if you're putting down solid work over a long period of time, you will reach your goals.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was an hour, girl.
I know, that
Like
flew
went
by.
like that. That's Ellie, you guys. Hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope that you're willing to apply some of the ideas that we played with today. Look at where you're selectively applying your comforts and your strengths, and practice confidence across the board. We have a great extra with Ellie that's already up on Patreon, so give that a listen and let us know what you think. Coach BJ has been loving up this community lately with some top secret insight with his daily vlogs. So it's been super fun to cultivate this arm of Yogi Triathlete a bit more. Thank you for your patience as we do that. And thank you all for your support. Check out the show notes for ways to connect with Ellie and other pods we mentioned on this episode. We'll be back next week with another amazing human. I'm really excited for our upcoming lineup, so stay tuned. Share the show, and let's continue to show up. Show up every day to yourself, for yourself, and have a frequent visit with yourself. Be open to feedback, especially in the areas that you want to grow, and keep creating space through meditation and mindful living so there is no veil shading your view from how you move through the world. This, you guys, is where our free will lies, and it's where all limits lift from our path ahead.